Okay, in this video we've got an absolute value inequality that we want to solve for x. So the very first thing we want to do is isolate this absolute value part right here. We want to get it by itself. So we need to get rid of this negative 1/3 in front. So what I'll do is multiply it by the reciprocal. So that will be negative 3/1. Okay, which means we have to multiply this side by negative 3/1. Now by doing that, this 3 cancels out with this 3 down here, and these 1's cancel out, and then a negative times a negative will become a positive. So that all goes away. We're left with the absolute value of 4/7 times x. Because we multiply by a negative number, that flips the sign. So instead of sticking with greater than, we got to change this to less than. And then 16 times 3 will give us 48, and then 63 times 1 is of course 63. A negative times a negative will become a positive, so I'll leave that fraction just like this. So now we're good to go. I'll also reduce 48 over 63, and we could say that that is, I believe it's 16/21, because a 3 divides into both of those. So now we want to do our positive version and our negative version. So I'll write out 4/7 x less than 16/21. That'll be our positive version, and then and I'll put a positive there just so you know. We've got 4/7 x is greater than a negative 16/21. So remember, on the negative version we have to flip the inequality symbol, and then we'll keep going from there. Now we want to solve for x right here. So to get rid of 4/7 we want to multiply by the reciprocal, so that's going to be 7/4. Okay, and then we got to multiply this side by 7/4 as well. So then the 7 up top cancels with the 7 on the bottom. Same thing with the 4's, and we're left with just x. So that's nice. We got less than, and then 16 times 7 will be 112. 21 times 4 will be 84, and then that will reduce. We'll have x is less than 4/3. Okay, so that will be one inequality that we want to go with. On this side we do the exact same thing. We're going to multiply by the reciprocal again. So 7/7 goes away, 4/4 goes away, and then we multiply this side by the same thing. We're left with x is greater than, and then 16 times 7, like we know over here, is 112. 21 times 4 is 84. That's negative. And then just like over here, again, we know that 112 over 84 reduces to be 4/3. So there's our other inequality. If we want to graph this, put it on a number line, we can do that. So there's a number line. Now we know that 4/3 we could write as a decimal as about 1.33, okay, with a line over it. So it'll be 1.33333, you know, forever. So we could just kind of estimate where it'll fall on the number line. So I'll start with maybe 2. I'll go down to 1. That'll be 0, -1, and then -2. So then we could plot our little dots here. There'll be open dots because we don't want to include 4/3 or -1/3. I'm sorry, 4/3 or -4/3. So I'll put them right about there, just estimating. And now we know that x is going to be less than 4/3. So this is the positive 4/3. It's going that way. X is going to be greater than -4/3, so it's going up in this way, and they'll just connect. So that's what that inequality graph would look like on a number line. So that's how you do that problem. The only thing that's really different with absolute value inequalities compared to absolute value equations is that on the negative version, you always want to flip that inequality symbol. Other than that, everything else is pretty similar. So let's try another problem. We've got -4 times the absolute value of x minus 5 plus 6, which is less than or equal to -14. So again, we want to isolate the absolute value expression. right here. We want to get that by itself. So the first thing that we're going to do is subtract out this 6 from both sides. We're left with negative 4 times the absolute value of x minus 5 is less than or equal to, and then negative 14 minus 6 will be a negative 20. Okay. Now we want to undo the multiplication of negative 4, so we divide that out. Divide it out from this side. So now negative 4 over negative 4 will cancel out. We're left with x minus 5, and that's the absolute value. And now because we divided by a negative number, we want to flip this inequality symbol. So that becomes greater than or equal to, and then this will be 5 over here. This is when we could do our positive version or negative version. So this will be our positive version, and then our negative version will be x minus 5 is less than or equal to negative 5. Okay, remember to flip this symbol on the negative version. And we could solve this, add 5 to both sides. We're left with x greater than equal to 10, and then on this side add 5 to both sides again. We've got x is less than or equal to 0. And if we want to plot this on a number line, I'll draw that up right here so you can see what that looks like, or just check your answer. So it looks like we got to go from 0 to 10. So what I'll do is just I'll put in our numbers here. I won't fill in everything. I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. I won't fill in the numbers though. But now that we have greater than or equal to, and then also less than or equal to, we want to use solid dots because we want to include, I'll do this in green, we want to include this value of 0. That's going to be on our answer, but x is less than or equal to 0, so our arrow is going to go up and to the left. And then with this one right here, x is going to be greater than or equal to 10, so I use my solid dot, and then I go up and over to the right because we want to include all the solutions over here. But that's basically how you do those.